This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, now we bring you a discussion on Rajya Sabha election in Gujarat. The participants are journalists K.B. Prasad and Nikunj Garg.
Today probably is the day of contest of one of the most high-profile Rajya Sabha elections that this country has witnessed, at least in the recent history. To talk about that and its impact on the national politics and its relevance on the national politics, Mr. Prasad, why has this one seat, to our uninitiated listeners at least, please tell us, why has it become such a prestige battle?
Well, simply because the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is ruling coalition in the centre and also in the state of Gujarat, has decided that it will field a third candidate against three vacancies, and to kind of checkmate the re-entry of Mr. Ahmed Patel, the political secretary to Congress President. As all our listeners would know, Mr. Ahmed Patel was the political secretary to Congress President for a very long time and continues to be in that position and has had a very long political say in the running of the UPA government. He was the political manager for the party, and he kind of knew the way the party had to work in a coalition. Now the BJP decided to challenge that position for political reasons, and very rightly so, because a very political party. There are two very clear reasons for the BJP to do so. One, to kind of see that Mr. Patel's re-entry in Rajya Sabha, if it is blocked, the BJP gains an extra seat in Rajya Sabha, a place where it has been in minority for a very long time. The coalition as such, even though just before these elections, the BJP got the 58 seats, thereby it became the single largest party in the Rajya Sabha. But the overall number still remains stacked against the BJP and its ruling alliance partners. Now, in such a position, every seat is contestable. And why would, in an intense battle like this, concede easy victory to a political opponent? So that's the logic behind it. And also, if you look at the larger game plan of the Bharatiya Janata Party to expand its base all over the country, it has to send a very clear political signal that its main political rival, the Congress Party, has only not recovered from its 2014 position, but is losing ground steadily. It's eroding in state after state after state. And remember, Gujarat has been the stronghold of the BJP. For the last 15 years, it has been the stronghold of the BJP. It has repeatedly re-elected Mr. Narendra Modi when he was the chief minister. And the litmus test for the Bharatiya Janata Party comes just at the end of this year, when the state goes to re-elect its assembly. We all know, like any other state, there are problems that are there, political problems which need to be tackled. And Congress, being an important and a political opponent which can challenge the Bharatiya Janata Party, it's but natural to try and, it's kind of a message the BJP would like to send before a crucial elections in the state, that it could take off the most potent political leader from the opposition camp.
And probably, in a way, show that the Congress is not only unable to recover from its losses, but it continues with the...
Which is what I mentioned, that state after state, BJP can project that here is the political party which lost the 2014 Lok Sabha elections in a very bad shape and continues to lose ground in state after state. And Gujarat is no exception, where the party has been traditionally strong, the BJP.
Now, as we speak, obviously Congress Party is contesting it, and it looks like a very intense sort of a battle. But whichever way the result comes, what do you think it would, in the national ramification of that result? We can talk from the Congress's point and the BJP's point.
See, one thing very significant that's going to happen this time around is Mr. Amit Shah will make his entry into the Rajya Sabha. Now, just for the sake of numbers, in 176 Assembly of Gujarat, there were 3 seats vacant and 4 candidates. So each candidate needs minimum of 45 votes to get elected. So the BJP with 120 odd numbers had no problems of getting candidate number 1, that is Mr. Amit Shah, the party chief, and candidate number 2, Smriti Irani, the union minister, who's going for a re-election. So their victory is reassured. There is no question of it. By fielding the third candidate in Balwant Singh Rajput, who, as most people are aware, was from the Congress tables. A man who was a confidant of Mr. Patel, whose political career was shaped by Mr. Patel. And this is again a political message the BJP sent, that by fielding a prestige of Mr. Patel against him, thereby the contest becomes tighter. And on top of it, the Congress also had its own internal problems. Mr. Shankar Singh Waghela, the leader of opposition, had just before these elections decided to move away. It was the issues were cropping between him and the BJP Congress leadership, and he decided to walk away. And he walks away not just alone, but takes away 6 more rebels, as they say. Now, the numbers of the Congress do not add up. And we all have read reports and seen pictures on television of how 44 MLAs were taken away to a resort in Bangalore to shepherd them to make in safe place so that there is no poaching as the Congress alleged. Now, all these it's not that this happened the first time. These kind of scenes have been witnessed many times in the past. But the intense contest and nature of the contest made it inevitable for both parties to, as they say, no quarters asked, no quarters given.
And no quarters asked, no quarters given is fine, but from the BJP's point of view, you made a very important point that the national president at least Mr. Amit Shah would be first time entering Rajya Sabha. And gaining an upper hand in Rajya Sabha and gaining the strength to kind of push the opposition back on important matters is also a very important exercise right now.
Point is, the chief strategist of the Congress party, so has Mr. Patel been described, for a man who has run the UPA coalition as a backroom manager, trying to, close down bushfires, placate colleagues and placate people who have not had issues with the government or the party and so on and so forth. So he was a hands-on manager without being part of the government. So he was and Mr. Shah, as the party chief, knows that position very well. He himself is not in the government, but is a very hands-on man. Everybody knows about it. Very hands-on man, and the party comes to it. And when he comes to parliament, he obviously would like to see how best he can make utilization of a new role, even though you have many senior leaders with more legislative experience in Rajya Sabha and in parliament. But Mr. Shah also has a legislative experience and also ministerial experience, having worked in Gujarat. So he'll bring that experience to it and see how it can work on a bigger platform. Because remember, Rajya Sabha has been a place where the BJP and its allies have not been very comfortable. In the last 3 years, we've had many occasions where they are running with the opposition. Many bills were either referred to select committees or so on and stalled for a time being, though the process is perfectly valid because that's part of the rules. But the BJP and the parliamentary managers felt that the opposition was being unnecessary obstructionist in this approach and was trying to counter the argument or whatever. So I think it's but fair that they are trying to see how best they can make of the situation.
That's about the BJP. What about the Congress party? If they lose this one seat, surely by all indicators it's a prestigious battle. Surely Mr. Ahmed Patel's position as the political secretary of the Congress president makes him and puts him on an elevated pedestal. So if they lose this one too, what are the ramifications for the Congress as the national opposition?
See, more than the Congress, Mr. Patel, as I mentioned, was a chief strategist and running around for the parties. He was a manager for the party and he knew a lot. He had across the very wide contacts. Now, if you take away a key position like that from Rajya Sabha, there is bound to be some element of reduction in the stature, if one may say so. Why? Because over the last 3 years, ever since there has been talk of Mr. Rahul Gandhi stepping in the shoes of his mother or the Congress president, he has been the vice president for a long time. We have heard this stuff that Mr. Patel doesn't enjoy the same level of confidence as with the vice president as he has with the president. Surely the vice president has his own way of looking at things and he has his own team to make, and we really don't know what the reality is, but this is the buzz in the political corridors. Having said that, so if Mr. Patel is not able to retain the seat, so it does affect the stature at which he was dealing with people, because you don't have to tell what Mr. Patel means to Congress party. It was like everybody knew about it. So here he loses the moral ground on which he stands, gets diminished by a notch or two.
Overall, in the scheme of things nationally between the Congress and the BJP, on the BJP's plank of Congress Mukt Bharat and Congress's very strong rebuttal to it, how does that play out?
See, the fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party made its position very clear in 2014 that it is working towards a Congress Mukt Bharat. It's a political goal. They made no bones about it. They made it very clear right from the top. So, and it's political roadmap for which they are working. And remember, from 2014 to we are in 2017, end of nearly 3/4 of 2017 are over. So what is this going to project? That here you have taken down one of the biggest political heavyweights of the Congress party, defeated him in a battle of election. So thereby you're going to kind of reinforce your theory that Congress is not able to recover its 2014 position, but has been decimating state after state, losing ground. So much so that Gujarat, where Mr. Patel has been re-elected for so many years, I think this is the 5th time he's in contest. Last 16 years he has been winning. And most of it, I think they were saying there were no elections because the number of candidates were equal to the number of vacancies. So this is sometime a real test has occurred and he tripped. It's a messaging that's more important for the BJP and its political management that look, we've done what we can and the dice rolls differently from here on.
When we talk of both the Congress and BJP again, in case of the overall outcome and in case of the reduced numbers of the opposition and increased numbers of the Bharatiya Janata Party in Rajya Sabha, how does that impact the functioning or the rest of the 2 years of this government, at least during that period?
See, there is going to be a difference on two counts. One, as I mentioned, the BJP has become the single largest party. So naturally, its own confidence level goes up. Mr. Amit Shah joins the ranks, so the number of confidence automatically soars because you have a party president sitting among your midst. Many decisions that need to be taken instantaneously or every morning on the parliamentary party meetings, you kind of quickly disseminate and do it. Not me doing now, but it's much hands-on at that point of time. And secondly, remember, you're pushing the opposition behind. You're gradually pushing them into the ranks. And it's happening on this time when the BJP candidate, of course, he is no longer with the BJP associated, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu becomes the chairman of the House. So the mood changes. The overall scenario changes that here you have a chairman. Of course, the chairman has since relinquished his party connections, very openly as mentioned, and he is also a long-standing parliamentarian. He has been in Rajya Sabha for such a long time, so he understands the rules, he understands the processes, he understands what can be done within the parameters, and he has been also spending time in opposition. He has spent time, so he knows what the opposition looks at. So the way in which the political management would be different from the way it exists now. Even though the numbers may vary as we look at it, the real majority may tip not before 2018. And I think one more important thing, Nikunj, in this entire process is Gujarat. We should not forget the end of this year we have an assembly election in Gujarat. The BJP has been winning Gujarat for the last 3 elections consecutively, and Mr. Narendra Modi delivered thumping victories all the time. The Congress has been the single largest political opponent in the state of Gujarat, and we are heading towards elections. So between now and say December, probably when the elections are held, or November, whenever the election commission decides, the battle has to be to make sure the psychological advantage doesn't go away from it. The BJP would like to retain every inch of that advantage it has held, and a defeat of Mr. Patel would send a different message. A victory of Mr. Patel would send a different message. So that's a very important component in the overall management of the Gujarat, because every incumbent government faces a lot of issues, and the opposition plays upon those issues and tries to garner support for itself and its allies. So this is a very sharp game that's going to play out. Either way, the impact, apart from the national elections, I think Gujarat is one state which will be very keenly watched, whichever way the dice rolls.
Upcoming assembly elections would surely be impacted according to you. Obviously, there has been division in the Congress party already. Probably their tallest leader, Shankar Singh Waghela, has walked out of the party. So very, very clearly, this sharp divisions that have played out right now at this juncture will certainly have a bearing on how the assembly elections...
Yeah, the matrix changes, you see. The matrix changes because, just take a scenario, who has Mr. Waghela, who revolted against Mr. Patel's style of functioning in Gujarat. Mr. Patel makes Rom's home. So Mr. Waghela will have to readjust his strategy, how he looks at the whole issue. Though he stepped out of the party, his calculations have gone the other way. Or if the vice versa happens, he says, look, I told you so. The psychological advantage for a party in power, the advantage for a party which is opposition, and there are many other people who are already waiting in the wings to get into politics. You have the issues. So all these start weighing up in electoral matrix.
Have you ever seen this keenly fought Rajya Sabha election and going ahead from here on?
The fact remains there were keenly contested elections in the past too, but not as high profile as this. Let me put it this way, because every battle wherever, whether the Congress has been in power, the BJP has been in power, states where other parties are in power, if there are a few extra votes, people try and mop it up. It's a fair game. It's like you just try it out by putting a third candidate or a fourth candidate or the fifth candidate. It depends on the calculations.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Rajya Sabha election in Gujarat. The participants were journalists K.V. Prasad and Nikunj Garg. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website newsonair.nic.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.